Hi, my name is Ariela and we want to welcome you to Soul Centered. Soul Centered is a center literally to center your soul. It's a center for loss, meaning, and healing. And my husband and I, B, we are co-founders, and I am also the director of healing and the creator of the Divine Body Wisdom program. I offer people a safe space to connect to their body and soul wisdom, and to heal physically, emotionally, and spiritually. So there's many different modalities and tools to get there, but really my goal is to help you to become your own healer by connecting with what's going on inside of your body. Instead of our thoughts, we go in our bodies and we explore what's going on there.
And I'm Baruch Halevi, B, Rabbi B. I'm the executive director of Soul Centered. Obviously work with my wife, Ariela. She is, again, the healing side of the equation. I'm the loss side of the equation, and working with people who are dealing with all types of loss, obviously, and especially loss of a loved one. And really guiding them into this place where we meet in the middle of meaning. I'm very excited. Our new website is coming out, and it really is divided like that: loss, meaning, and healing. And they're all just different portals, different doors into this place, because we believe that if you can find meaning in whatever you're going through, you can go through anything, and you can go through it purposefully and passionately, powerfully. And so that's what we're doing. That's what we do with clients. That's what we do here at on the Soul Experience. It's a weekly offering that we share with our clients, kind of the glue in between our sessions. But it's also for those who aren't clients, for growing conscious community of soul-centered seekers. And so that's what this is, and that's what we're doing, and that's what we invite you to participate in.
I think the most important thing that we have to offer is personal and professional experience. That we have also gone through loss, meaning, and healing ourselves over our years together, and personally, and also with our family. And so we like to provide, and our dream is to really provide what we've gone through and help others and provide services for others in that way.
Yeah, for 20 years we created Jewish congregations around the country, and they were very meaningful and important to us, and they were good preparation for what we're doing now. But I feel like now we've just extracted out everything that we not only love but need in our own personal lives, like Ariela said, right. And now just building a community and offerings around that particular focus.
Exactly. So with that,
we will center our souls.
Let's go.
We oftentimes begin with just one simple word, Om, put into the Hebrew. Word Shalom just means hello, goodbye, peace. And it's an sound. It's a centering sound used across many mystical traditions. You'll feel free to join us and begin centering your soul. So soul-centered is holistic, the deepest sense of the word. We kind of throw that word around, but really the soul isn't one thing. It's mind, body, spirit. We can talk more about that another time, but we believe deeply that all of those are pathways into soul, and we don't want to choose one instead of the other. We want to present opportunities for you to find your way into soul through each of those modalities. And so we chant, we sing, we pray, we meditate, and we talk, we converse, we study. And so that's what we're going to do now, is engage through the mind into soul, and not thinking of them as mind and soul, but really mind is a pathway into soul. And it's called chavruta in the Jewish mystical tradition, but it just means dialogue, and we invite you to dialogue with us. You can talk at the camera if you want. You can send us emails. We would love to hear from you and hear your voice in this important conversation, and I'll let Ariela talk about what the conversation we're going to be having is.
So tonight we'll open the discussion to discuss boundaries. And I think that when I see clients, it's probably the most important topic that we go through, are boundaries. Not only boundaries outside of ourselves in our relationships, in our work life and professional and personal lives, but also the boundaries within us. The yeses and the nos outside and inside. We talked last week a little bit about tikkun nefesh and tikkun olam, and really what that means is being out there in the world and giving, and then also learning how to find the balance to center yourself and center your soul. And so really this is a continuation of our discussion. This is where boundaries come in, is so essential.
Yeah, you can't center yourself, you can't find your soul center without boundaries. Oftentimes we think of no as mean or selfish, and yes as loving and kind, but I think both of us have seen in our own lives, but also certainly in guiding clients, oftentimes it's the reverse. Saying yes is selfish and not kind, and saying no is selfless and loving. And we'll get into what that means. And I think even just saying it, probably a lot of people are saying, huh? How does that work? Saying no is loving.
Right.
In fact, it probably oftentimes is the most loving thing we can say.
Exactly. I have a client that I saw that was really never taught how to say no. In her family, there were many yeses, and when there were yeses that meant, and when they meant no, it caused a lot of tension, anger, and damage to the relationship. So my client never learned the proper balance between yes and no, and it's beginning to show in her relationship. So she is overextended. She says yes to everything outside of herself, and to the point of exhaustion. So physically, she's having a hard time sleeping. She's having a hard time getting out of bed. She runs ragged, so she's having a hard time, feeding herself properly and taking care of herself, because she's taking care of everybody else.
And I bring a lot of Kabbalah into my counseling and into my teachings, and Kabbalah really says that there are two primal energies. There's yes energy and there's no energy. And no is actually feminine energy. It's a drawing of boundaries. It's the womb, right? The womb is a big no, right? It's saying no to the rest of the world. This is a creative space for the next 9 months, and we're shutting out the outside world and drawing that boundary. It is a boundary. Right? And so helping people take on more of this kind of feminine energy of drawing boundaries. Masculine is going out into the world, not male or female, masculine going out of the world, saying yes. Feminine is drawing boundaries, saying no. And it's a delicate balance.
Right.
But if you don't have that balance, like Ariela's client, like some of my clients, you feel out of whack. You feel depleted, and you become resentful. If you're saying yes, 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 your energy level is dissipating. You end up like her client in bed, and you end up depleted, resentful, lonely, angry.
Right, and if you think about a marriage, like our marriage, a marriage is a way of saying no, yes to each other, and no to the rest of the world.
Hopefully, right? I counsel people on this concept all the time, and it strikes them. When I'm counseling a guy, as an example, who's going to the chuppah, to the wedding canopy, I'm saying, what you are saying is yes to your spouse, exactly what Ariela said, but no to every other potential spouse out there. There's always this kind of look of like, what?
What?
But we know that.
Right.
We just haven't articulated it into terms of yes and no, boundaries.
Right.
And now when you say it, makes a lot of sense.
I think also it opens up the intimacy. Like saying no opens up yourself to something deeper on the other side of no. So when you say no to the rest of the world out there and you say yes to me, what does that do to our relationship? It opens it up for a sense of safety and protection, a bubble, if you will, where we have now the chance to explore how to say yes to each other.
Not only that, it's creative, it's divine, right? The word sanctity comes from the word to separate. It's from the Hebrew kadosh, which means holiness. And what is holiness or sanctity? It's setting aside something as separate, right? And oftentimes in this world we live in, we don't think of that as, what is that? How's that holy? Because
Right.
again, when you're choosing somebody under the wedding canopy, you're saying, I set aside you. I set aside myself to this relationship as exclusive, right? And we are special. You say the same thing to your kids, to our kids. We love all children, but we don't love all children equally. We love our 4 children particularly, and they need to know that.
Right.
What if we said to them, we love you just like we love everybody else around the world? They would feel a sense of loss because boundaries haven't been set.
Right. Like, this is our family.
This is our family. And then it doesn't have to be exclusive in the sense that nobody and nothing gets in. There's like a concentric circle. Here's the most, next,
Right.
next, and it's circles out. But
Exactly.
coming full circle, we individually have to be at the very center of that.
Right.
Right?
Exactly.
As important as this relationship is, Ariela knows that she has to have herself at the center
Absolutely.
for this to be a healthy relationship.
Right. And that, as you said, like, that is about saying no. Sometimes, we say no to each other so that we so that we can center ourselves, and so that we can be at one with each other, with ourselves.
And we try and, like everybody, drag each other across the boundaries. Like, our kids are
Yeah.
all kids are notorious for this, right? How can I manipulate you to drag you across your no into my yes?
Totally.
And when that happens, right, it's a slippery slope to hell for them, for us, for the family. This is how it is in the world too. We can easily slip across that boundary and lose our sense of self by saying yes when we mean or need to say no.
So I think as we end the Chavruta and when we enter into tonight's meditation, I think what's really, really important, at least for myself, I've learned this, is that we have to tap into ourselves to understand what we want.
Mm-hmm.
When you say yes to something, how does it feel? Are you getting a yes, an openness? Or do you say yes and mean no, and do you feel that constriction?
Right.
And so when we enter into meditation, we'll check in with ourselves. When we say no, does it feel like a firm, grounded no? Or does it feel like a waffling no?
Absolutely.
And so it's about really learning what's going on inside of us to make better decisions.
So just a couple quotes and we'll end with, but we quote, like a lot of people now, Brene Brown, who says, daring to set boundaries is about having the courage to love ourselves, even when we risk disappointing others. And that is such an important idea, that this is an act of love, an act of healing. And by the way, we'll have another conversation about the exact opposite, when we need to say yes and we say no. So there's a converse to that.
Right.
That's not tonight. Tonight is about loving yourself by saying no to others, but also loving others by saying no to others.
Right.
They're both equally important, equally acts of love, equally creative, divine acts. It's time to reframe the way we think about yes and the way we think about no.
I agree.
And with that, we will now really embody this in a healing way, to draw those boundaries, to focus on ourself as an act of love.
So as we do with all of our meditations, just find yourself in a comfortable seat or maybe on your bed, wherever you are, and begin to close your eyes. And the act of closing our eyes creates a boundary in itself, because what we're saying to our bodies is that we're willing to go inside. We're willing to shut out and say no to the outside world for a few minutes and go deeper inside of ourselves to understand what's happening inside of there and what we're feeling. So taking a deep breath in and a long exhale out, and just imagine that the exhale travels to all the spaces in our inside of ourselves that need some attention, need some openings, need more love. Deep breath in and a long breath out. And as you continue to breathe on your own, imagine in your mind or in your body, if you can, a beautiful light traveling from the center of your belly all the way down into the earth, deep, deep into the earth. Typically, when we say no, it's a grounding no. So we're going to play with what yes feels like and what no feels like. But just allow yourself, imagine your feet on the floor, and imagine that you just have this cord of light traveling all the way down into the earth, really grounding you. And then as you breathe in and breathe out, imagine expansiveness, opening your chest, creating space around you, light, air, freedom, and openness. And with that, I invite you to bring up a situation maybe you've just had in your life, or maybe that you're struggling with, where you have said no but meant yes, or said yes but meant no, or just maybe something in between. Something, maybe a decision you need to make, or a decision you made that you wish you could go back on. And taking a deep breath and letting it settle into your body. So just bringing that memory to mind. And I would like you to imagine saying no. Saying no to that situation. Maybe it's just a mere saying no to doing any more busyness during the day. Saying no and taking breaks. Creating boundaries during the day. How does it feel when you say no to this particular situation? So a strong no would be a centering, a grounding in your body, like a deep sigh. And then I invite you to say yes to that same situation. So if you said yes to more work, or let's say you said yes to a situation you wanted to say yes to. I think that's easier. Saying yes. Feeling the yes in your body. What does it feel like to say yes when you truly mean it? Feel the expansiveness of your yes. And then I invite you to begin to play between these two energies. The no is typically a grounded no. That's a solid no. When you say yes, it's an opening, it's an expansiveness. It's almost like a freedom. No can be freedom too, in a different way. And so when we struggle with our yeses and nos, with our boundaries, I invite you to take space to yourself before you answer somebody, before you act on your yeses and your nos. I invite you to take space. So that means just going either outside or into the bathroom or into wherever you are, just leaving a situation. And then taking a deep breath and feeling, when I say no to this, how does it feel? If you don't get that grounding no, then it's probably your answer. If I say yes, how does it feel? Open, expansive. And so with that, I invite you to place your hands on your heart center and one on your belly. And just maybe making a commitment to opening yourself to deeper boundaries, to playing with the yes and the no. And then as you take another deep breath in, filling yourself with love, light, and boundaries, I invite you to open your eyes.
Thank you. Interesting too, yes and no embody the messages of each one, right? Yes is an open-ended sound and no is a closed sound.
It's like a grounded
That's
feeling.
a mantra to itself, right? Yes, no. And really kind of thinking about whatever that means to you.
Right.
And we're going to end with Kaddish, a prayer for the dead. It's always important to remember I teach people that our loved ones aren't dead, their bodies aren't dead, but their spirits are very much alive and continue to say yes to us. The body is finite and it says no, but the spirit is infinite and it says yes. And the word Kaddish means boundaries. That's what it means. And so what does that mean? When somebody dies, we take a period of time and we set boundaries around it, and we contain our grief in it. We say, I'm going to deal with my grief right through this year, traditionally, and saying no to the outside distractions that take us away from processing that grief, and coming into this space to say, this is my time, this is my grief, these are my feelings, I'm going to feel my way through it. And so that's what this is. It's an opportunity. As an aside, I made a creative Kaddish. You can get it on the spark-seekers.com, and it's a creative process to create boundaries for your journey through grief. And so now we'll take some time, we'll think about our loved ones who are bodily not here, spiritually very much present. There's some words, very simple, you can download them online, but Ariela will lead you through them as well.
Yekada ve'yekadash Shemei Rabbah Yehei Shemei Rabbah Mevorach Le'olam u'ame'amayah Yekada ve'yekadash Shemei Rabbah Yehei Shemei Rabbah Mevorach Le'olam u'ame'amayah. May the one within and above bless us with your love. May the source of infinite light guide us in our life. May the one within and above bless us with your love. May the source of infinite light guide us in our life. Shalom, 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 shalom.
So we hope this has been a short period of time. We're really trying to kind of contain this and draw limits and boundaries around it so that it's doable and manageable for you all. But we hope it's been a meaningful few minutes during your week to really draw some limits, draw some boundaries, make time for yourself, for your soul to be centered.
We would also like to offer you separately or together a 30-minute complimentary discovery session where we unpack what it is that your body, soul, and mind is going through, and also what it needs, and the best way that we can help you uncover and experience that.
Yeah, like Ariela said, we work separately and together, different combinations, and really we believe deeply in just listening to you, to your story. Your story is distinct, it's uniquely yours, right? Those are your boundaries, and we want to know who you are and what you're about in order to be able to guide you across whatever transition you're navigating. And we're all navigating it all the time across different transitions and crossroads. And so we'd love to hear from you. Stay tuned for lots of exciting things happening here at Soul Centered. And until then, shalom, salam, peace.
Namaste.
Namaste. We'll end with love. Love is all there is.
Yai-da, yai-da-da, yai-da, yai-da-da, yai-da, yai-da, Love is all there is. Love is all there is. Love is all there is. Love. Love is all there is. Love is all there is.